you very much. Hi, everyone. If you don't know us or haven't heard of us before, or you need a little refresher, I'm from the Girls Forward Foundation. We are the leading organization dedicated to empowering girls and women through sport, physical activity, and education. And we operate primarily with a community-based model. So we go into communities, partner with an organization or people that live there, work in those communities to provide what the girls are looking for in those specific places. And one of the things that we've been trying to do is, since we are a national charity, have more initiatives that span across the entire country. And so, what I'm going to talk to you about today is the first iteration of our youth mentorship program. And so, we had originally set out to, through some funding that we got through Lululemon's community grant, we had originally set out to pair 30 mentees and 30 mentors. And the mentees were girls ages 10 to 16, and the mentors were any self-identifying women above the age of 21. We had such an overwhelming interest in the program that we actually doubled those numbers and paired 60 mentees and 60 mentors, which I'll tell you is probably one of the takeaways. It was more than that, but that's what we landed on officially completing the program, like 120 in total. People in total. And that is not a small feat to try and pair that many people together. Pairings were decided based on both the groups, so the mentees and the mentors filled out a survey asking what kind of things they would want in a mentor or in a mentee. So whether that's similar lived experience or sport experience or school experience, anything that they wanted. And then we tried to pair based on those asks. And so this program ran from November 2025 to actually just finished at the end of April 2026. So this is all quite new information. We will plan to have a full report and some more details disseminated. So if you are interested, we will have more information later on. But I think from the biggest takeaway or the main takeaways is going to this idea that intentional matching matters more than the volume. So while we were super excited to be able to offer this program to more girls across the country, we did notice, and there was a need to go back and actually recruit more mentors that fit the profile of what these mentees were looking for. So what we had originally gathered was not sufficient, especially when it came to racialized youth and underrepresented groups. We needed more mentors that fit those lived experiences. And so doing more intentional recruitment and really deciding, we had originally started with the mentors and the mentees completing the survey at the same time, but learning that it actually needed to be more of a two-tiered approach where we gathered the mentees and then came in and found the people that fit for them, as opposed to starting with mentors, and then having them try to adjust to whatever the mentees were asking for. We also found that because this program was entirely virtual, and so you didn't have to necessarily be paired with a mentor or a mentee that was in your city, in your province, this was really great because we could make more deep connections, especially for those people who wanted a sport connection. Sometimes we found that, our mentors that were available in that province didn't necessarily have the sport experience the girls were looking for. But this did act as both an access point and a barrier, because you did need to have a sufficient level of technology, some way to communicate with your mentor or your mentee, whether that be a phone or a tablet or that kind of thing. We also had to require a lot of support from parents. And so this was really difficult because, as many of you, I'm sure, as parents, have a lot going on, your kids have a lot going on. It was difficult to have them be the go-between between the mentor and the mentee. So something to think about. We also needed to have more support for mentors. So we had a guidebook that was developed for the mentees and that we developed for the mentors. But mentors actually needed more connections to really build that trust and build that community with their mentee. And so we found that doing monthly workshops that had relevant topics were really helpful. finally, just as two action items, I think, like I said, investing upfront in that matching and not rushing. We actually had intended to start the program in October, and we pushed it for a month to make sure that the pairings were actually completed and really actually strong. And then also thinking about this idea that structured programs work really well. So having a set theme every month was really important. But having that space and that ability for mentees and mentors to take what they learned from a workshop or from an event and apply it in their own context. So having that mixture of structured and unstructured work. And my time is up because I'm a talker. So I will leave you with my two reflection questions. But really just trying to think about how can sport environments be not just about skill building, but about relationship building? It was amazing to see the mentors send us little messages about mentees and all the things that they were achieving and building that relationship that really made those mentees feel more connected to sport beyond just talking about who won and what happened. And then how can we move beyond really connecting more intentionally? And I have more thoughts on that, but it's okay. Thank you very much.